Hi, I'm Jordan Hawkins. You're watching the Encore. The time is 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it is the 27th of October. My current favorite artist is Frank Ocean. I'm a huge Frank Ocean fan. I'm probably like a Frank Ocean stan. I feel like my current favorite soundtrack is Euphoria. I really love the TV or the series Euphoria, and I love all the cool music that they put in it. I hope to have a song in that show one day. That is a tough one. I feel like probably my current favorite music magazine is Billboard, just because that's what I'm always going back to, not solely for the charts, but also because I have that. I feel like they have a lot of cool information about business. There's just so much to learn and so many stories, experiences that people that have been in the industry a bit longer than I have gone through. So I just feel like it's a good thing, one, to see kind of what's happening in the music industry from a music perspective, but also a business perspective as well. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I work with a lot of amazing producers, so I can only name one, two, or three that I'm rocking with heavily right now are my homie Business Boy, my homie Mike Hector, and then my OG homie Charles Nutrivar are some of my favorites that I work closely with. Probably one of my all-time favorite producers is Pharrell and the Neptunes. I just love the way they make stuff bounce, their musicality. So I named like five people, but I probably couldn't name one in that question. Ooh, current favorite mixing engineer. My engineer is fire, so I'm gonna shout him out, Kalen Anachi. But I've always admired Jimmy Douglas. He's like a OG mixing engineer. Justin Timberlake, everybody, Beyonce. I've always admired his work. I think he's a big favorite of mine. My current favorite song right now, I've been honestly bumping Chanel by Frank Ocean like every day. I don't know why. I just love the song. It's one of those songs that I go back to and I listen and I always find something new in. Uh, well, I feel like upon first listen, like it seems like really simple and really straightforward. It's like the emotion of it initially catches you, but listening back to the intricacies of the production get me every time. A song that I wish I wrote. Let's see. I wish that I wrote. I want to say "At Last" by Etta James. I think that's an incredibly beautiful song. I think a song that I've written that I'm most proud of is "We Have." I think that's the song that I'm most proud of, primarily because I think it showed me that a great song doesn't have to come from a studio or necessarily anything. It just has to come from the heart. Like I wrote that literally back in North Carolina on my living room couch with like my first ever acoustic guitar and came up with those chords and just recorded it in a voice memo. And then it became what it became. I think that's why one of it's my favorite songs. And it just also, I feel like that song really brought me into myself, my own voice, and just showed me that people connect most with what's most authentic. Dream collab, ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think my dream collab is still probably Frank though, because he's my favorite artist. I think what brings me the most fulfillment in being a musician is like, music isn't necessarily easy to pick up. So what brings me the fulfillment is like being able to acknowledge and like see my growth from when I first started playing an instrument or singing to where I'm at now, and just knowing that if I continue to be consistent and continue to do it, that when I look back, 5 years down the road, it'll only be that much more growth. I mean, at this very moment, I am an independent artist, signed not to a major label, but to an indie label since the 80s, based out of Atlanta. I think right now in the current climate, I think independent artists with great teams have the ability to really win. So I think that's where I want to be right now. I'm not ever saying that I would never sign to a major label. Obviously, depends on the situation, but right now, I'm definitely living more in the independent space. Okay, so I think my career goals right now, kind of my checklists are to one, put out EP that really speaks to who I am, not only as an artist, but also as a producer and musician. So I've really been trying to push hard to do that. That's probably like my primary goal right now. That's been pretty much my focus all of 2020. Collaborating with a lot more people to kind of take the weight off of myself. I can operate in a very self-sufficient place in terms of like writing, producing, and playing, but I really try to step out my box and, you know, collaborate with other guitar players, collaborate with other producers, and, you know, collaborate with other writers. And I think that's really helped me not only grow, but expand the possibilities within my sound. And it's also just helped me learn so much more about every single facet of making a record. Who inspires me? I think right now I'm particularly inspired by my love life, that special someone. That's honestly where a lot of my inspiration comes from. And a lot of the inspiration for this EP has come from kind of during this downtime in quarantine in 2020. I think I am most grateful for the opportunity to come to California probably about 4 years ago. I think the opportunity to get out here really helped me step into my own and believe in myself as an artist. And I think that's a big reason why I found the success that I've found so far, and while I'll continue to find success, because I feel like it really helped me be confident in what my purpose was. What makes me truly happy? Honestly, in music or outside of music, I feel like that's a tough question, because obviously as a musician, playing music makes me truly happy. But I think also just like doing fun stuff with friends and family makes me truly happy. Like, it puts a smile on my face. I feel like my definition of love is a verb. Love is shown in actions. It's more than just words. And I think people have different ways of loving. I'm a very in-person lover. You know, love has its physical aspects, but it's also deeper than that, in the internal, and acknowledging that, you know, you really care for someone outside of yourself. I think that's what love is. Man, I would say have tough conversations, speak your truth, don't let things build and simmer. Try to squash small stuff so it doesn't become big. Know when you need to take a rest, and when you're good to push through. Those would be probably my biggest pieces of advice. I'm most definitely passionate about Black Lives Matter, and basically not eliminate the police force, but divesting police and allocating those resources to things that I feel like would help the communities, and specifically, you know, for example, like education. I feel like divesting police in schools, or, you know, divesting the police force, you could reinvest in education and things of that nature that would actually help upbuild communities or social programs. I think that's one of my biggest things that I'm really big about, in just advocating for elimination of police brutality. I'd definitely say COVID-19. I think that's the most prominent event of 2020, but I think it's brought forth a lot of good change. It's brought forth a lot of issues that have kind of been suppressed or have been put to the side. So I think, for as economically kind of bad of an experiences that it's been, I think it's been good socially. I think the biggest challenge that I faced in 2020 was just honestly just trying to pick myself up to keep going, and trusting that everything was going to work out. Like, I was supposed to go on tour right before COVID hit, possibly do a European tour following that. And so COVID kind of like a lot of people, kind of just threw everything out of whack for me. Getting over that and just having the faith to push through and knowing that everything was going to work out, I feel like was one of my biggest obstacles of 2020. I feel like the most important lesson of 2020 has been patience. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think like the best thing that happened to me in 2020 was going into quarantine with like other cool, like-minded individuals, like specifically my roommates. I feel like that really honestly helped me get through 2020. Was not because I know a lot of people kind of went through quarantine in isolation. And so I feel like me not necessarily having to do that definitely helped me a lot. Honestly, my roommate's a comedian, so he probably made me laugh the most in 2020. I'm not gonna hold you. I've been laughing all of 2020. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next year.